Hello and welcome to Hardcast, and let's go semi-Groundhog Day on poor Gilad Anipada. I'm Humphreyer.
And my name is Chris.
Lifeline. Give me the Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, Volume 2, Labyrinth.
Prelude to Labyrinth Part 1, Blood. Wrath of the Eternal Warrior number 5. We catch up with my main man Gilad in ancient Mesopotamia. A group of baddies come to his village while he's out hunting in order to steal his son. On their way, they kill pretty much everyone else. Gilad comes back home, sees the destruction, and goes on a quest to find the people who stole his son. During this, we see that he didn't really want to have a kid, but his wife kind of pressured him into it. This is important later. Anyway, he arrives at the fortified village and gets ready to attack.
All right, so back from the future and into the past.
Yes.
And back with, what's his name again? Our good old pal Juan Jose Rip.
Who's that?
It's the artist.
Oh, okay. I thought it was some sort of character.
No, the artist who's the only one who can make all of this awful destruction and murder and blood. You look so delightfully awful. Oh, love it. But yeah, I mean, did you remember what happened last volume?
Nope. Like I didn't remember until like the beginning of Labyrinth Part 1. So like in 3 issues, because that is like a very visually reminding. I mean, who can remember? I mean, when was the last time we read it? Wasn't it like one of the big crossovers? Wasn't it the when the guy died? When Dark died? No, was it after that? No, Wrath of the... No. Yeah, it must have been Wrath of the Eternal Warrior when he was trying to get out of dying. So after he had died, he spent an entire volume trying to get out of death.
Exactly.
That's the one. Okay.
Yeah, the 75th episode, and this is the 89, so quite a while ago.
Yeah, see what I mean? Like, this takes so long.
So, but that's kind of nice thing with this, though, because it is very standalone. I mean, these first 2 issues, it's just kind of, well, it's just kind of like an old-timey adventure. Yeah,
I really like these 2. Yeah.
So it's also kind of nice. I love the fact that he has no scars.
Mm-hmm.
Just good continuity.
And then he also mentions, I don't scar.
Yes. Yeah, that's in this next one. It's just like, yeah, well, that's great.
Yeah. So ironic. It's dramatic irony.
Yeah, but it also illustrates then the importance of those battles with the immortal enemy. The fact that it's the only creature that can do permanent damage to him.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. I just thought that maybe no one had hit him that hard yet.
I'm assuming, I mean, they're just little scratches in comparison, he just attacks Gilad. I think that's the idea. But yeah, I mean, it's very sort of, I guess the word would be basic in some way. I mean, this is kind of like history of humanity in a nutshell. We got more stuff, we got more weapons than you guys do, let's kill you. Of course, there's a plan behind it all, but still, the action itself is not like, oh, how weird. Humans attacking another human? And, sorry, I just love the art. All those lines, I love it. No, but like, it's such a horrifying thing happening, and the artwork fits it so well.
No.
I mean, that splash page of everyone, attacking. Oh, that... the blood splattering from that guy's head there.
Yeah.
Just, the women screaming. Yes, people falling over. The horses, the rendering of the horses. Oh, so good.
Yeah, it is crazy. It does look a little bit like the... I guess this does somehow work really well in this context, just because you're trying to show like this horrified and crazy kind of situation. And I love how like Gilad doesn't have necessarily that many, like so many lines on him when he's just hunting, but the more enraged he gets, the more like lines come in his face and more shadows and stuff. And it's the same thing here with the warriors. They're all full of like just lines and just how would you call it?
Cross-hatching is usually the term.
Yeah. But not only cross-hatching, but like they just have like skin problems. Like they have like little circles on their skin, just to show like they're not clean. They just look, I don't know. It looks weird.
Yeah, no, you're right. That kind of, yes. Well, yeah, it's not clear, fine skin, fair skin. It's just, there's texture to it all.
Yeah.
Which, again, I love the fact, that's why I love the black and white pages at the end of the issues. Because you just kind of get to see, like, how it's all just lines. And I've always found that impressive, where you can, like, just do everything with lines. You don't need to paint or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, let's screw those color artists.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying they're not amazing. In fact, color is used very well throughout these two issues as well.
Oh, yeah.
As well as actually the whole volume is very well colored. But it's just, sorry, I just had to gush a bit about the art, because we've done it before with him, but love it. And yes, because I happen to come to this page right now, page 20, I love detective work like this.
Yeah, I love that they also told us what it was right at the beginning. Where they kind of, so we didn't have to like think, wait, what is this? What does this mean? They just showed literally like, oh, here's a hoof of a deer, and then it's like this panel, this kind of sepia tone panel of like this. It was a deer. It's like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on.
Exactly, but then when he's basically at the scene of the crime as well,
yeah,
it's just, I don't know. I've always loved that stuff. It kind of reminded me a bit of the Two Towers. If you remember, after they like meet the Riders of Rohan, Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas, and they think that Merry and Pippin have been killed.
Are they the ghosts? Is that the army of ghosts?
No. The Riders of Rohan were those, yes, the horseback riding guys.
Oh, the one that like Aragorn was part of?
I can't remember if he was. I don't remember the lore and all that. But
whatever.
It's the guys who come to rescue at the end of the Two Towers, with the sun behind them.
Don't remember.
But they...
oh, is it the one that there's like one lady there or something like that?
I can't remember that.
I don't know, whatever.
Either way, but they have that whole, there's that pile of orcs, and they assume that, well, we didn't leave anyone alive. So your friends are probably burnt in the pile over there. But then as Aragorn's there, he then comes across clues, and it's the same kind of thing where, just, I guess, love kind of simple forensics like this. Because it just means so much, and it's so clear when you look at it, You fought them, oh yeah, because, you're dead, your hands are bloody, and you have the rag from an assailant. No blood in the Callum's bed. All right, so they must have taken him. I don't know, just... it's obvious to us because we just witnessed it, but it's just fun seeing, like, sort of him figuring it out.
So, did his wife rape him?
Guess depends on the definition of rape.
I don't know. I just kind of thinking about it, like, man, she really did pressure him. Like, basically, didn't take, if we're talking about the whole thing about like silence means no as well as no means no. She literally says, and if you say no now, I'll never ask again, but don't say no, please.
No, but it's emotional abuse. I mean...
oh, yeah, totally.
Of course, in this case, there's, that whole other, level to it.
Well,
he was paid by a rich royalty to do this. Like, oh, okay. And not that, that he finds out later.
So my thought is, do they just... not sleep with each other, or what's the contraceptive method of...
Gilad's got a good pull-out game.
Oh god.
Who knows?
Wasn't there like a thing that like ancient Egyptians used to use, like...
Well, the queen does mention that. She asked like the priests to give her like potions.
Yeah, but that was potions for abortions.
True.
Isn't that what she said? But I thought like I heard something about like that they used like some sort of like lamb guts or something like that to put over their dick.
I heard that was like proto condoms.
Yeah, something like that.
Like the same idea. It's like just the intestine.
Yeah.
Oh, we learn things here on Hardcast.
No, it's just you and I speculating, and just like, But also, I mean, think about it, like how crazy must that have been? Like, I really want to have sex, but I don't want to get her pregnant. So let me just take this innards of a sheep, put it over my ding, and then just shove it in her. That's how that's going to work.
That's where innovation comes in, desperation.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that old Saturday morning breakfast cereal comic as well, where you see these like cave people like going on about like, no, wait, no, it can't be. The gods would not be so cruel. And then with the caption, the sex pregnancy connection is made.
Yeah.
I just love that. It's like somehow like, you know, it's been years. And suddenly, wait a minute, have you noticed every time, like 9 months after we've had sex, you have a kid? I just love that.
Oh, man.
Oh, God, sorry. Yes, the art again when he finds the castle. Honestly, this guy should work like in France. Because they there he could like really work at his own pace, doing like nice big, you know, like albums.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think that if he wanted to, he would be?
I don't know, maybe because I know the French are very like French.
Yeah.
So maybe it's like, you know, no, we do not speak English or Spanish with this guy.
Yeah.
I only speak English now because I can't do the French. Oh, so it's just the perfect artist for Gilad, I feel, at least for like the olden time stuff.
Yeah.
Because the olden days were rough. And his rendering is really rough, but like controlled. It's so good.
I mean, yeah, I really liked this comic. I mean, this whole volume actually I really liked, but I just want him to stay in the past, man. That's something that I just love. I mean, when we get into the future again or into the now, it just gets so boring so quickly. I mean, in some sense, it's not boring as in completely boring as in I don't like it, but it's more boring than what these first two issues were. You know, because they were just these are the interesting things. You know, I want to see how he spent his time back in the day. You know, doing these things. This is the story that are interesting that you can tell, because all the other stories that happen in the now, any hero could be in there. I mean, yeah, maybe not specifically this story because he's being killed over and over again, but you know what I mean. Like this could have been like Exo Manowar, but like in a different way. You know, that it wasn't, you know, him dying all the time, but it was something else. You know what I mean?
Like a time travel thing or something. Yes, the whole, you know, time dilation.
Yeah, but you know, something like that. Then the fact that like that Exo Manowar could just be in this whole labyrinth thing where he's trying to get out of a labyrinth that's been set up by someone, right? That could be a story. But all these stories of like back in time when he's like this. He can be in any single time. It's just, I just love that idea. And I want to see that more. And so when I realized that after these two issues, we were going to go back, and then I realized that this volume is like 6 issues long and 253 pages long. You know, I don't know. I wish it was just more of the past with him.
Yeah, it's like we've said, it's like, I think we both really like the Days of Steel volume. You know, the one where he had to like take care of that child. Like there were those twins. He had to choose the right one, and he'd grow up to be like a troubadour or minstrel.
I can't remember.
It was like taking place like in old timey France when they were being attacked by Hungarians. I think it was
something like that. I can't remember.
Again, that was purely set in the time. Like the whole premise of him being immortal was almost irrelevant.
Yeah.
Actually, dude, you know what? As a birthday present or Christmas present, something, I'm gonna see if I can get a hold of an album of Forgal for you.
Of what?
Forgal or Torgal, Thorgal.
What is that?
It's a French, what's called comic book.
Why?
Because it's basically Eternal Warrior, but without the eternal part.
It's French.
But no, I find it in English, of course.
No, but it's French.
No, but it's good. Like I've read it in Swedish in the Phantom comic book in Sweden. Like they translated it. And it's so cool. I mean, there's some sci-fi elements in there. But when it's not sci-fi, it's like it's almost like these first two issues, just gritty awesome fights and so good. Anyways, there's not really much. I mean, we kind of, you summarized, what happened in the story, and
yeah, we need to start getting through this if you want to start, if you want to keep it within an hour, because 6 issues, dude. 6 issues. Let's move on.
Issue 6. We hear from the mastermind of all of this, of a person who apparently gets to live life as all kinds of people throughout history, ending on the queen who had given the order to kidnap the baby. Gilad scales the wall to the city and one by one slaughters the guards, eventually coming across the captain who led the purge. Apparently Gilad's wife was paid to get impregnated by him, although she did grow to love both him and the baby. Once he gets the info from him before his death, he chases down the queen to the docks, only to find out every ship has been burned. Gilad looks out to the horizon hopelessly as the queen begins her experiments. I mean, it's just roaring rampage of revenge.
Which I feel like, I don't mind these issues, but there's also an issue, I think it's issue 8, I think, one of those that you have to review, because I remember when I was skipping through it, getting to my next, it was, I think, in issue 8 when I kind of skipped through it, I was like, oh man, this is like the best thing to review or what's it called, summarize, because all you have to say is like Gilad fights. Like, there are literally issues, and I feel like this is one of those issues where it literally is just Gilad fights.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I could, be specific about them, but the end result is the same.
Yeah, the only specifics that you really need to mention is everything that you did mention. Is just that, there's this person who has lived multiple lives. She's the one who stole the child, and Gilad fights through an army of people all alone in order to get back to his son, and he doesn't. And that's literally all. There's no other information that you need to know. Even all the stuff about like why the one guy stole the baby or whatever, nothing matters. It's like the whole talk between it's just basically, trash talk before they actually fight.
Yeah, which serves as exposition as well.
Yeah, but even then.
No, agreed. But still, it's good action.
No, it is. I'm not saying it's bad. That's the thing. I'm not saying it's bad. It's really enjoyable and it makes for a quick read. But it's just like, I feel like, would I be happy about this if I wasn't reading it in a volume?
Yeah, well, that's something we've discussed a lot in terms of like getting the volume makes it more of a complete story, even if, it like starts and ends with cliffhangers.
Yes.
But yeah, if you were, waiting a whole month, whatever part of the month it comes out, let's say the second Wednesday or whatever of the month, because that's the the new comic book day, and then like, great, interesting start. Oh, he just got into the castle. Oh, I can't wait for him to, get in there. Wait a month. And then like, all right, and that was kind of a quick read. As we've discussed this before as well, like comics are not an economical form of entertainment.
No, of course not.
They really have to reconsider how, like, both how much they charge and like how much you get.
Yeah.
But that's not our problem in that sense. As consumers, sure, but.
So I think maybe we can just discuss this here because there's not necessarily much to discuss in this issue itself, really. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about the villain's powers.
Yeah.
Under this, like, this impression, like the impression that I got from when they were explaining the whole, like, I have died with more memories of more than 100 lifetimes kind of thing. I was under the impression that this person dies and is reincarnated with all their memories. Right?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm thinking dies as an old man, is born as a baby. We see, however, at the end of the volume, and I guess spoilers for the end of the volume, when he dies there, he immediately reincarnates as a grown woman. basically taking the place of the woman that was there before.
Well, yeah, it's more of a possession, I guess. It's almost like his spirit possesses a body, but at random, I'm assuming, since, why would he choose to be a slave, as he mentions before or later?
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of, they don't quite illustrate it, because I guess sometimes you would become, be born as a child.
Yeah, but I think I was thinking when I was because I was a little bit annoyed by it, because I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, obviously the whole thing doesn't make sense. But I was thinking like, well, I mean, it would make sense that assuming there's a thing like a soul, that this person's soul and memories and blah, blah, blah would move over to a child, like an empty vessel, as in a baby, just being pushed out, basically. So then it inhabits that empty soul, and then it has to grow up. But then I realized when I was kind of thinking, well, that's kind of stupid that they didn't do that. That would have made more sense. I also understood that, well, it kind of sucks for the story if we would have to wait, like, let's say 18 years in the story time for there to be any more story to tell of this villain. Because we will assume that he wants to be of age or whatever at 18 so that he can take on Gilad again. And that would really suck. I mean, how awesome would that be as Gilad? It's like, oh, I'll just kill you, and then,
Well, I mean, it would have been a really
whatever.
cool thing if you could guarantee that the Valiant will be around for that long.
Yeah, of course.
18 years ago we planted this seed.
Yeah. And then the next thing I thought of was, how he said that he was like a slave. Why didn't he just kill himself?
Maybe there's still some sort of sense of self-preservation, like even as a slave.
No, not about self-preservation. I mean, I'm talking about obviously there's some sort of self-preservation in slaves. Otherwise, they would have all just killed themselves. For this character specifically, he knows that if he dies, he will be reincarnated in a different person. So why not just, you talk about like winning the birth lottery. Why doesn't he just spin that wheel until it hits on something good?
All right, white straight male.
Yeah, that one again, please. But you know what I mean? Like, why would he then be like, oh, I'm a slave. Okay, I'm gonna jump off the boat now. You know what I mean?
No, it's. I agree. I think it's. I guess one would call it a plot hole. I guess, since it's a question that they don't give an answer to.
And also, how would he know? Like, I would assume, like, you could always explain, well, if he kills himself, then he won't reincarnate.
But how does he know that?
And it's like, but how does he know that? Right.
I mean, I also get the impression, based on the way he acts later on in the volume, I get the impression that he would test things.
Exactly.
So I'm sure he can do it, but perhaps he still sort of values like what he could learn somehow.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe he wants to. Maybe he decides to, like move ahead. Like with the.
Maybe he likes it for the experience.
Yeah, or maybe he's like, well, crap, I'm a slave, but I'm a slave in the Roman Empire.
Right.
What could I do? Like, maybe I can't be like the emperor myself, but maybe I can rise up and maybe manipulate things from the side, with the information I know. I could imagine things like that.
Or maybe he has like a fear of like, maybe this is the last one.
Maybe, but I do agree with you. It is a bit of a... again, plot hole, sounds kind of strong. But yeah, definitely something that would have worked.
I mean, it doesn't like destroy anything in the plot, so I wouldn't really necessarily call it a plot hole.
No, but it's something that could be elaborated on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe the next volume. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, this volume, just a lot of cool fights.
A lot of cool fights. Amazing art.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I can gush without just repeating myself. It's just so... And again, also showing kind of the, more brutality of Valiant. He has a guy at his mercy. He offers to help him, cuts off his head. It's like... if this was like, even if it was some kind of like Elseworld thing with Batman in the past or whatever.
Batman's a pussy.
No, again, it's not, it's not that one way is better than the other. It just, they're very different.
Well, I would hope so.
So, but it's just really cool, the fighting and and I do like, because you get plenty of action, so I don't feel cheated with the guard room, where you just basically get two panels of duck, yeah, gulp, no, and
yeah, but that would be like the comedic, cutaway from like an action film.
Exactly.
He comes in and then, everyone's just like, oh shit, and then everyone like gets out their weapons and you just hear the door close and you just hear a scuffle and then he walks out and everyone's dead inside.
I'm not locked up in here with you. You're locked up in here with me.
He actually does say that in the comic.
So did he?
Yeah, he does. Not in this issue, but in the Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Because I was just thinking like, oh my god, that's such a typical superhero stupid thing to say. And they say it in the Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that, or
something similar.
Was it Batman?
But it's Watchmen that I think.
One of those. Oh yeah, of course, yeah, with Rorschach, yes.
In the comic and the movies, yes.
Yeah,
it is a good line.
No, it's one of those lines that's just so cheesy because it's been used so much now already. It's just like, I don't know. I don't like it because it's just one of those things where you're constantly hearing the same thing. It's like, you remember when we watched 300?
Oh yeah,
and I kept on quoting the movie, having had only seen it like I think once. And you know how bad my memory is, but that movie was so like cliched. I mean, it's a good movie. It's fun. It's like a fun movie to watch, but it's so cliched that I don't know. Like I don't know. It's so cliched. It's crazy. And every other line is just like setup and punchline. Set up, punchline. Not in like a joke wise, but like
but the way they're talking, they don't talk like real people do.
No, they don't. No,
and again, that's not about adding ums and all that.
No.
But it's just the whole. It's very, which fits it too, being like this sort of Greek, like it's not like a Greek tragedy in the traditional sense, but it's like almost like a Greek play.
Mm.
So it kind of fits that it's very theatrical in the way they speak.
Yeah.
Like very Shakespearean, so you don't. It's very roundabout ways of saying things. But yeah, just really sad too. What's called all that trouble and then he fails.
Well, I wouldn't call it trouble necessarily.
Losing his whole family, his whole village.
Honestly, he could have done more. He could have gone swimming. I mean, come on.
Who knows? Getting a little raft or something together.
Yeah. A raft out of dead bodies.
Oh, that's how badass he is.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's what he does. He uses the dead bodies as bait for some sharks, and then he captures the sharks.
Then he rides the sharks. Talk about jumping the shark. This is riding the shark.
So tied a raft to some sea turtles with my own human hair.
With my own body hair.
Back.
God, that movie was actually good.
I was discussing that with someone the other day. It was my cousin. It's such a solid movie, the first one, because it didn't really have any expectations.
Oh, yeah.
And also, they knew to not overexpose Jack Sparrow.
Yes, which they didn't. A lesson they quickly forgot when they made the sequels.
Minions, so in Despicable Me. Like, if you see the first Despicable Me, they're there, but they're really just a background thing.
Yeah.
And then realizing just how popular they were is like, okay, guys, yellow. Just everything yellow.
Oh man, it was the worst when Sweden was playing in the soccer game. Everyone's just like, oh, look, it's Minions. It's like, shut the fuck up. Minions are like the worst thing.
I don't mind them, but I know why people hate them.
No, I do mind them because I don't know. Did you ever have Deedle?
Deedle?
You didn't have that? It's probably just a German thing, huh?
Maybe a different name?
I don't know. It's like a cartoon mouse that it's like a little girl's kind of thing. I don't know if you've seen it. I'll check online for it. You can maybe put it in the show notes or whatever. A diddle.
It sounds like a German thing.
It is German.
Again, not by name at least.
Oh, it's Diddl. It's a German comic. Oh, it's actually a comic strip. Okay. It was in the 90s. It was created in 1990. It's a white jumping mouse with big ears and stuff like that. So you probably have seen it, especially because you've lived in Germany for a while. So you have seen it.
I'm
like,
sure
I know
I
you've
have.
seen it
It just
because
doesn't come to my mind, at least by the name.
So basically, this was like one of these characters that was just like everywhere, and every single girl had something to do with this.
Oh, a lot of merchandise.
A lot of merchandise.
I
And
kind of have like a, like a fussy silhouette in my head now.
I sent it to you on Facebook if you want to check it out. And it's basically on everything, like notebooks and school bags and everything like that. And it was just like everywhere. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, again, I don't know if it's like anywhere outside of Germany it's like a big thing, but and this is like, I was kind of a little bit annoyed by it because everyone just like, you had to have like a Adidas or something, like all these like girls were like had this kind of thing. And I mean, again, us boys had our own stupid stuff as well that we had all over our like, cars and stuff like that, whatever. But I feel like the Minions are like that thing now that I feel people get like way too obsessed about. And I don't like people who are obsessed about stuff too much anyway. I mean, this is even like Humphrey, you're like, you get sometimes too much with your love for all things.
Love for all
gets
things.
already too much for me.
I'm sorry for being so
but
loving.
just like, no. No, but like the fact that you're so passionate about like I love the fact that we can watch a movie and you can talk the entire way through it and just like give up all this like information that you have. Like you're so like involved in all this shit that like, I'm like, who cares? And so that's why I kind of feel like with these, like with the Minions and the Diddle and stuff like that, it's just such a big thing. Like, I think as soon as a person tells me that they're so obsessed with these things, like the way that, I don't know, I lose respect for them. I lose respect. Well, anyway, let's go back to the comic.
You off then a bit. Here's some Minions trivia.
Ugh.
So they were originally in the what's called notes in the first film supposed to be genetically engineered corn.
Okay.
Just as a quick like explanation of where they came from. That was thrown out the window with the with the Minions movie, where they were revealed to have been
right, where there were like an island of them.
There you go, guys. Your Minion trivia for the day.
Okay, let's get back to Valiant.
Go on with the next issue.
I'm sorry for that rant. I mean, I was totally unintelligible. I was just rambling. But let's make this an extra long episode then, I guess, because we're only a third of the way through. Labyrinth, Part 1. Wrath of the Eternal Warrior, number 7. We see a stereotypical British explorer with the turban-wearing servant and everything in Kashmir as he's constructing, or rather having people construct, something in the mountain. We flash forward to now, and we see Gilad waking up in the glass room, and British Dude explains what has happened in his absence, and how he dug up his body and took him to this place. Afterwards, he tells Gilad that he can have all of his stuff back, but he has to get through his labyrinth. Gilad tries, but ends up dying, which is all in this guy's plan. He wants to understand how Gilad keeps coming back to life. And this guy is obviously the reincarnation of that lady with the eyes. Yep.
So he's kind of like, an obsessive comic book fan. He has to know how things work.
Oh.
Now, you can't just be like, it's cool. It's like, no, how does it work? How does Force Hammer work?
Yeah, true. When you were just telling me about like this kind of, it felt so weird to have this person like this kind of too smart for himself guy talking about like, oh, you need to play my game. Just reminded me yesterday or the day before yesterday, we were watching an episode of Catfish. Do you know that show?
I think so. It's the thing when people have the wrong picture online or something.
Yeah, when they basically try to be someone else. But there's a show created by this guy Neve. He made a movie out of his own experience. He was catfished when he was younger, And now he's actually made a TV show on MTV called Catfish. And they basically go and help other people figure out if they've been catfished, and they kind of confront them and stuff like that. So then there was this one guy, and then, oh my God, he was like the worst person ever. He was like, you know, catfishing this guy, like he was a girl. He kind of like showed himself as a girl. But when they confronted him, he was all like, yeah, so I just do this because I'm bored while I'm sitting here in this casino waiting for my algorithm to work. You know, like kind of like all this shitty things where he was just like he was such a dick about the whole thing that the people from the team of the show, they just left because they were just like, you know what, you're a total dick. We're not going to give you a platform to like, you know, be on, like whatever, fuck you. And they just left. And he kind of reminds me of this guy here when he's talking about like, you know, you have to get through my labyrinth so I can test you and I can study you and all this kind of shit that I don't know.
Well, I mean, they've gone all way out of their way to make us dislike him.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, he is the villain.
I mean, you know, but like ignoring his previous actions and his previous lives. You know, I mean, just the whole, you know, him pouring the tea on that worker. I mean, he's so petty. You know, like why?
I mean, also, this character could be directly, and even the setting, I mean, in like Kashmir, this could be a Tintin villain.
Actually, yeah, he could have.
I mean, he's literally the typical, stereotypical British explorer who has the turban-wearing Indian or Pakistani servant. Like, I totally got this Tintin vibe from this guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's could work, you know, with Tintin locked up in a labyrinth.
Oh, no, I mean...
Yeah, no, I know.
It would have been a different thing.
Oh, Snowy would save him.
Huh?
Snowy would save him, as usual.
Who's Snowy?
Milou. The dog.
Who? Oh, the dog. Okay. I've never read a issue of Tintin.
Oh.
Don't get it for my birthday. I swear to God. I know it's not French, but it's close enough.
Belgian.
Yes, that's what I meant.
But yeah, no, it's...
Again, there's not much to say. I mean, this is the thing. I mean, it's so close to being dragged out. You know what I mean? Like if this was written by a less talented writer, and I mean, maybe not talented is the wrong word, but a less, I guess, experienced writer, this could have dragged on a lot. But the pacing is so well done throughout this entire volume that I hardly noticed that it was 6 issues. You know, because there is a lot of action in between, and I think that it allowed to have a little bit more space, you know, so that you could actually, like, I don't know how to explain it correctly. It's just like you feel like nothing is being like it when you get to the end of like an issue, you just kind of like, all right, let's get through all this like advertising stuff and let's get to the next thing, because you want to know right away what's going on. And it's never like, oh, okay, here's an entire issue of him just fighting. It's like, no. There's enough information like added everywhere in this comic where you can kind of feel like, all right, I'm getting information. He's fighting a lot. It is a long comic, but you don't feel it because nothing drags. It works. It works really well.
Oh no, certainly. And it's the same artist. Now it's the same artist from the previous volume. And remember just how much we gushed about his use of panels and and like monochrome like coloring and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and just like the pacing, the beats. You know, same thing. Like with my new PDF reader, I can't see like all the thumbnails at once the way I could with the old one. But, you know, you'd see like all the cool like symmetry and stuff going on.
Yeah.
And it's just so well done. I mean, it's amazing when they get 2 great artists to work on the same volume. So, but yeah, no, it's, how we say, just kind of cool. I mean, even for a superhero comic, I feel the Labyrinth is almost a bit too much. Especially when they showcase like the construction of it a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Again, not like,
Yeah.
oh, this is way too weird for, Valiant. But just kind of, since it does seem like it's all made by human hands, it
Yeah.
just kind of feels like, really? You really managed to.
Yeah.
You're obviously rich. But even
Oh, yeah.
so, you're like, huh. I mean, the drones and stuff isn't really a big deal, but it's just the way the whole place moves and stuff. Like this first death, from
Yeah.
suddenly this thing
It's
pushes
like it's
out
all.
and
Yeah, like it's already analyzed all of his fighting patterns, and it's like, oh, he's going to be able to jump here and here, so we're gonna have to add this element that pushes him away from the wall and all that kind of stuff. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just really weird.
yeah, no, it's just interesting. I mean, again, it's a very frustrating like volume in that sense. Not in terms of the story itself, but it's just like you're having your hero constantly sort of be losing. Like he really had to fight for his victory this volume.
No, I don't feel that way. I feel like it was more of a I didn't feel like he was really suffering or he was anything like that. It was just more of a trial and error kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, no, certainly, but still, I mean, with the first two issues, him losing his child, despite trying his hardest, and then here being at this guy's whims and just played with, analyzed. So, but it makes it all the more satisfying when he does finally defeat him.
Exactly, Humphrey. That's what I'm talking about. Everything can't just always be happy and great.
Of course not. That was just the whole balance thing. So it's like I mentioned the whole Spider-Man issue. Well, not an issue of Spider-Man, but just with the character. Because a lot of writers just want to shit on it all the time. Which again, yeah, it's good drama and all that, but it's like, dude, give him a break.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. I think, I was like, come on.
Yeah, but the thing is with like these long-running characters is that you can of course go back in time and look at all these things like we have to keep on shitting on him because that's what makes things interesting. He has to have something to fight against, and he can't always be winning and being the best at all the time. I mean, that's why I feel like TV shows and movies are kind of like a better medium where, like, especially TV shows where you have an end in mind, and it's not like a thing where it's like, oh, the ratings are good, so let's make another series. I think that's why a lot of British television is actually pretty good, is that they know when to stop. They don't just go like, they're not like the Americans where they're just like, okay, we're gonna beat it until it's dead. Yeah. Like we're just gonna keep on hitting it until at some point it's dead. I mean, that's why I also think like, I mean, I also feel like Buffy went way too long in some sense, but they were also saying like, we can't, like after the whatever 8th season or something like that, they were like, we can't keep increasing we can't keep increasing it now because like increasing the danger that comes, because she's already like Buffy at the end of the season 8 or whatever it was, the last season, she has died twice and the world has almost ended like 3 times. You know what I mean? So it's like one of those things where it's just like, yeah, okay, you can't keep upping the stakes.
What's the Dragon Ball thing and we've discussed?
Yeah, well, the Dragon Ball thing is a little bit also weird. I mean, I also feel like a little bit, I mean, I'm watching this super still. I mean, I'm dragging through it because it's not that interesting at some point, because it is just, all right, here's a guy who's stronger. I mean, arbitrarily stronger.
Yeah, well, yeah, because now it's way beyond like, I mean, it's kind of like, with the nuclear weapons on Earth. Like at what point, this bomb can explode the world 10 times. It's like, once is enough.
Well, exactly, because I mean, yeah, but that's the thing. Like, there is a difference between this bomb can explode, like can blow up 1 square meter. This bomb can blow up 3 square meters. And, it gets to a point, but then when you're like, this bomb can blow up the world. And then someone goes like, well, this bomb can blow up the world twice. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter because the world is only the world. And that's what I feel like it's the same with Dragon Ball. It's just like the powers get bigger, but I mean, that's why it's also a little bit boring from my side. And I think that's why, like, for example, with Spider-Man and all these other comics, they have to keep bringing the drama in the way of, like, he has to keep losing so that then the victory feels sweet. And that's the same thing here with Gilad, which is also why I'm totally backing the idea of, like, publish comics as volumes. Don't publish them as issues. Because we would spend, I mean, this is like 6 weeks. I mean, I don't know how exactly they published these with those extra comics, if they were like special things that they pushed in on the side. But let's assume, worst case scenarios, this was 6 weeks, 5 weeks of him failing, and 1 week, months, not weeks, months, 5 months, almost half a year of Gilad failing, and then 1 month of him succeeding. And next month, how much you want to bet he's going to fail again?
No, but exactly. Honestly, again, you know, like as you said, like if this is 6 months to make this volume, it'd be amazing if publishers, at least like Valiant, considering, you know, they don't publish as much as the other ones. Imagine if they just had a setup where like every 4 months a volume like this came out. You know, and it was actually like written and drawn as that, you know, so it's not like it doesn't have these arbitrary breaks for like the issues.
Yeah.
Like I would so much rather than wait for that $10 volume or whatever, you know, to like read that in that one batch, then slowly
well,
like
I mean,
filling it up.
Think about it, like, well, I mean, you know how long an episode of like The Simpsons or Family Guy or something like that takes to make, right?
I think it usually takes about like 9 months in general.
Right. So assuming that this was like, take a 4 month comic. I mean, if you plan it right, you could bring out these big comics every single month.
It's not impossible. I mean,
no, it's not impossible. I mean, you just start early enough, then it works.
Oh, I mean, in terms of like, like that. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not talking about like, you know, crunching it all together or something like that. No, I mean like, you know, start a comic like this, like whatever, how many months ahead of time, you know, get that storyline done and just publish it like that. I mean, I don't know if that's like I don't know. I mean, I feel like it would also be so interesting to just be like, hey, what if we make it differently? Like have 4 artists work each on one issue and then we publish it all at once in a month.
Oh,
done.
Certainly.
You got it would be the same workload basically. But I don't know. I mean, we're not here to discuss this. We're talking about this but we can't talk much about it because it's basically this issue is all just Gilad dying over and over again.
He does good stuff.
Yeah, I love seeing my hero die.
But we're we're halfway through now, so perhaps a word from our sponsors.
Wait, no. I still have something to say. We're not done with this issue. I mean, there must be some sort of trope, and you're going to tell me what it is. Is there a trope for struggling through a task once, and then every next time you have to do it, you do it easily?
Well, I'm not sure about an actual trope, but it's basically roguelikes.
Oh, what?
Well, that game type, roguelikes.
Don't know it. Oh, the RPG?
No. I mean, it can be RPGs. But stuff like, have you ever played Spelunky?
No.
Binding of Isaac?
Oh, yeah.
It's the idea where, when you die, you have to start over. But either you do it in the way where you get to keep like items or powers, or merely the practice from doing things. Even though it won't be exactly the same because it will be randomized, it will still be within like the difficulty level. So this is basically almost like a roguelike game for Gilad.
Yeah, true.
You know, constantly playing, constantly getting a bit further, but then he gets killed by the new element introduced. You know, like
right. Well, I'm not only thinking about that. I'm thinking about the going through the hell.
Oh, that too. Yeah, I love the fact
because he just
see it.
Yeah, like no, you see it in one panel. Like there's one panel where he's like going through the hell or something like that, and it's just like, Yes, exactly. I was like, it was a whole volume before, and now it's just one panel of him going through, and it's just like, come on, man.
I get the impression that maybe, because, you know, they are also sort of like living creatures and such, so maybe they haven't recovered.
Yeah, maybe. It's like, oh, this guy again?
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of like, I still haven't healed. We're like, what? Oh, God, whatever.
Just let him through. Just let him through. He'll be back. Oh, God, I can't. Just let him through.
But it is very sad. Yes, his, you know, kids all happy to see him again, and it's like, nope, sorry, kids, gotta go again.
But I'll be back real soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's just awful. Yes, day after day, him coming back, ignoring them.
And especially because his son wanted to actually talk to him. Maybe he could have helped. If only Gilad wasn't so headstrong.
Probably, but again, Gilad didn't know.
Yeah. Come to the Dying One's Labyrinth. Don't let the name fool you. It's totally safe, if you can reincarnate. Come and see for yourself, just off Highway H311 towards Kashmir. The Dying One's Labyrinth. Fun for the whole family.
Ever been in someone's house and realized they didn't have any good, or at the very least adequate tea? Worry no more, for with Time for Tea, that's time, the number 4, tea, we'll have tea sent to you in a jiffy, be it in the far reaches of Pir Panjal Mountains or in your own backyard of Indiana. Never ruin yourself with another cup of subpar tea. Download our app today.
And remember to use the offer code HARDCAST to get 50% off your first order. That's the offer code HARDCAST for 15% off.
No, that's a great addition.
Sorry, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, your turn.
Issue 8. Having just been killed by the Labyrinth, Gilad wakes up in his heaven house again, but realizing that time is of the essence, he doesn't stay behind to spend time with his wife and children. Instead, runs off to get resurrected again, noticeably ignoring Caleb. He spends 40 days repeating this routine, much to the frustration of his captor, who hasn't figured out what he wants out of Gilad yet. They try using a magic creature to attack him, but Gilad notices the sigils on the walls allows for objects to penetrate. So he stuffs a sharp stick into his wrist and lets himself get eaten. When he resurrects, he paints the sigil on the window with his own blood in order to penetrate it with this smuggled stick, and now he's on the warpath.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say?
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. It's like, it's such cool stuff that's happening. I mean, they basically bring in a demon dog or demon lion to fight him. He Wolverines himself. And just like, it's so interesting, but there's not much to say about that we haven't already said, and which is probably why we're going off on so many different tangents today. But like, yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah, no, it's just really good. And again, yes, the whole concept, the way it's also like portrayed and all that, and all the different like death scenes. Yes, the whole very clinical like text of it. You know, trial 5 concluded, day 6, the 22:48 GMT. And he's just, you know, he's getting drowned. It's this stuff happening. The repeated view of him ignoring his son, Caleb.
Yeah.
And again, and then you get nice pages like page 132. Just a beautiful, what's called pattern with the different color schemes to show the different time segments.
Sorry, I'm trying to think of what kind of like music would be playing behind this. And how it would be like as a live action kind of thing where you just go like, I don't know. I mean, also part of it kind of makes me feel very, this feels very video gamey.
Yeah, you're just kind of grinding or just trying to really beat that one level.
Yeah, and I mean, like, especially with how every time he actually does die, it's a different kind of look. And I could totally see that as like a game over screen. You know, like he's falling and then it's like boom, and then it's just like, you know, you see the cracked skull or whatever, and then it all goes like this kind of red and black, and then it's like game over, and then you wake up again, and then it's like game over, you know, that kind of shit.
It's almost kind of like I mean, I know it's not like that necessarily in Assassin's Creed all the time. It's almost that kind of thing where he wakes up in the machine that kind of like, wait, no, that's not how it should have happened.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's just really interesting. Just really well done. Just so great. I mean, it's kind of like I'm not against the solution because it's not like a Deus Ex Machina in that sense. But it just kind of feels when the solution is magic. Like part of me would have preferred if it was more of a physics thing or something. Like somehow, like that the bad guy would have been hoisted by his own petard in that sense. Yeah, no, it's not so much that it would be his fault, but more about like Gilad taking advantage of his hubris or something.
Yeah, but
like maybe like he gets too overzealous and sends like a huge block or something to crush him. But the block is so big that Gilad could do something that makes it crush into something else.
But isn't that technically what he did with this monster?
Oh, it is. I just feel the fact that it is this, magic creature thing. It just kind of like, okay, it's all these kind of physical things happening, and then, wow, magic demon dog.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't mind this kind of solution because I feel like all Gilad was doing was basically trying to find the quickest and easiest way to actually like get the upper hand. And I feel like this is kind of the right way of doing it because he's smart enough to understand what these symbols mean, and like what they can do. And then he knows that like, okay, what I need to do is then I can draw with my blood and all that kind of stuff. And so basically what I feel like he's doing is during this time when he's in the labyrinth, he's just finding different ways of biding his time until he finds a way out. And as soon as he found it, like here, he then takes it.
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I love that. It's just the specific solution being like these sigils. I don't know. I mean, again, it's not like magic is something weird to exist in Valiant or anything. I don't know. I guess I kind of wish there was something more physics-based or something regarding the solution.
But why? Like, what is the difference? I mean, because as you said, it's not unnormal that there's a magical creature, and he does say that he wants to test all these different ways of killing him, and
yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It's just sort of on a personal level. I just feel whenever the solution to something has to be magic, when magic hasn't otherwise been like the element.
Yeah,
I think that's where it kind of gets me. Like if it was like a Harry Potter duel or something. Like wizards.
Oh shit, I just realized what that was now.
What do you mean?
Okay, now I'm a little bit I'm a little bit against it too. I just realized because I thought that the symbol that he created, that he wrote, was like a symbol of, making the integrity like go away or something like that.
Oh yeah, isn't it?
But yeah, but I'm thinking it maybe had to do something also with the magical thorn that he had, because why else would he take it along? Because here's my problem. Because I thought that he took the stick along in order to draw something, like to write it, right? But he writes with his fingers. So I'm thinking, well, why didn't he just cut himself with his axe or whatever, and then write with that blood? But then I see that he actually uses the thorn to crack the glass. So I didn't read anywhere that it was like what the symbols meant with the sigil.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just what he notices, earlier when they start shooting those darts or whatever you'd call them.
And that is what I don't like about it, because basically you how do you call it? You gave him a lucky chance. Like you can use luck to get or luck or happenstance or coincidence. That's the word. You can use coincidence in stories to get your hero into danger, but you can't use it to get him out of it, because then it's bad storytelling. And I feel like here the problem was that it was lucky that the thorn hit the wall and went in, because it was in that symbol in the exact right spot.
Exactly. And as I mentioned, the fact that it's a magical thing, like...
Yeah, I think if he would have just seen this symbol and then kind of been like, oh, wait, that's a symbol for like whatever, I could use that on the glass, that would be better. But the fact that not only did the symbol have to be there, but also the thorn had to hit it right in the middle, because obviously it had to be the middle because he does it in the middle again on the glass. That is the problem where I'm like, that's not cool.
Yeah, again, it's not like a deal breaker or anything. It's just me personally, I felt...
It is a little bit weak. It is. Yeah.
Yeah, a little cheap in the sense of like, man, how do I get the Gilad out of this?
Yeah.
You know, again, Robert Venditti's been doing a great job writing this. It's not that.
No, it's not that. But I mean, there are these kind of moments where you're just like, okay, yeah, it's okay.
Just because it's not something... I don't feel like these symbols have appeared before. Maybe in some, what's called Shadow Man volume or something. Like if that's where they're from, or if it's just some new magical sigil thing. But yeah, that's just the kind of thing that gets me with it. It's like, nah. But again, that's really it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because now it's another roaring rampage of revenge.
Ugh. Labyrinth Part 3. Wrath of the Eternal Warrior number 9. Gilad makes it through the labyrinth and British dude is getting ready to face him. Also, his son is gone and his dog is sad.
I suppose that's it, yeah.
It is. That's all it is. I mean, Gilad goes through the glass and he finds the way to the guy and he kills a bunch of security guards, and that's it. That's what it is. And we see that, what was his name? Callum?
Yeah, Callum.
Yeah, has now left. So that's basically adding a little bit of a precursor for whatever the next volume is going to be. And that's pretty much it from the story here. It's just him fighting, and that's it.
But again, some amazing art.
Yes, I'm not saying that it's bad art. I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it. It was great. I loved it, but there's not much like essence to it.
No, sir. It's just a really long trip to get to the finale.
Also, I love how he talks about how he doesn't want to, like right near the end of the comic of the issue, he says how he doesn't want to kill unarmed people, and then he literally chops off someone's hand when he's reaching for the gun, and then cuts off his head. Talk about killing an unarmed person.
I lied.
Yeah.
Oh yes, I just love that page spread with the broken glass. Like,
yes,
I kind of hope they kind of did this digitally. If not, I'm just so angry that those two, Raoul Allen and Patricia Martin, are so good at drawing. No, but like to figure out something like that so it looks right.
Yeah.
Oh, like, figuring out just how the image would be distorted, but also making it pleasing and understandable.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Like it really feels especially with this guy, with Raoul Allen, and the previous volume as well with him.
Yeah.
He's a real comic book artist. Like, he's not just a good illustrator. He's a comic book artist. He knows how to play with panels, with form, with pacing.
Yes, definitely.
It's so good. I love reading this guy.
Yes. I apologize for my dog in this episode. He's being very annoying right now.
The bloodhound.
Yeah, my girlfriend's at the doctor's, so he's always all nervous and wants to play and wants to do stuff, and he doesn't want to just sit around and go on. Now he's looking at me all disappointed, like,
I would be too.
Bleib. Okay. Well, I mean, Humphrey, when you come over, you're gonna have to sleep with him.
Oh, I wouldn't mind, because I love dogs.
Yeah. He's already taken ownership of the couch. Anyway, I mean, generally, there's a lot of stuff here. I mean, I didn't mention it in the last issue, but I kind of want to mention it now again. There was that time when he cracked through the glass. They are so good with making sound effects part of the art. When he cracks the glass, it literally says crash or scash in the glass as it's cracking.
Exactly.
And they do it later. I'm not sure if they do it in this issue or in the next issue. When he cuts someone's head off, the sound effect of the slash is in the blood. But I mean, okay, this is the kind of thing that could so easily look like shit.
Well, it is kind of a silly thing when you think about it.
Yes. I mean, like if I would do this, I would, draw the little blood line and like how the line would go. And then I would kind of like use a text tool and kind of put the slash or whatever into the like top of the blood. And it would look like shit because obviously I'm not an artist. But this worked so well, and it is in the next comic, so I'm not going to talk about it yet. Oh, there's a lot of them. Okay, we're going to just talk about it in the next issue because there's a lot of them in that issue. So let's go back to this issue. Great art, great everything. It's all amazing. Not a lot of story, but
no, that's pretty much it.
Yeah,
I mean,
good.
we could. I honestly could almost go like page by page, just discussing about like the artwork and the panel layouts.
All we're going to do now is we're going to go page by page and just moan at the art.
No, but
Here we go.
It's so well done.
Oh.
Like I said, it's not just great drawings, because it's almost that's kind of almost the issue.
Yeah.
It's almost like the issue with someone like Alex Ross, who's a amazing painter and all that. And again, it's nothing wrong with his panel layouts or anything, but just that's not really what you're looking at. You're looking at the individual images.
No. Alex Ross is an amazing artist and an amazing like painter, right? This is amazing graphic design.
Yes.
That is the difference. I mean, yes, this is not like the best. I mean, the proportions are not always there. There are some shots or some panels where Gilad looks a little bit off, but the graphic design elements of this are impeccable.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they are so amazing. I mean, just looking at just the color between like that kind of bluish. I mean, I don't even know how to do this. Like, how do you go from a comic where everything is like neutral colored and stuff like that? I mean, how do you go from like, okay, everything is colored normally and all that stuff to a sudden extreme blue and red tint? Like they literally have it like, okay, Gilad is falling down, he lands, and bam, everything's blue and red. How do you do that without making it look totally shitty? And they do it. They do it so well. And just the panel layouts. But when he's fighting those armed guards and they're all red, he's all blue. You have blue panel, red panel, blue panel, red panel, blue and red panel. Then you have blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. It's so amazing. And I don't understand how they can just like, it just feels so good.
No.
Making me feel inadequate.
No, it's amazing. I mean, I have a terrible sense of color. Like I'm not
Yes,
colorblind or anything, but I might as well be.
Yeah.
So, totally. But yeah, it just looks great. And again, I mean, it's just so much variation too in terms of not in terms of color, but this intensity. Because it's one thing having just monochrome coloring, like oh yeah, how about we just have it be black with red on top, for the blood.
Yeah.
But it's like no, it's it's basically sort of all very naturally colored, just with the tint, as you said.
Yeah.
And it feels so purposeful. Like it doesn't feel, I'm sure there was color correction on the page, but it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like they, colored something and then fiddled with it.
You think they did that?
I don't know, I assume so. I just assume that's always color correction, yes, in terms of the control you have. But what I mean is here it really feels just very purposeful. Like it's not just, oh, here's some basic like values and colors, and now let's fiddle with it until it looks right.
Yeah. It would be amazing to like know, like to actually be able to find out how this was done. I mean, I wish a lot more. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know, but maybe I wish a lot more comic artists would, do like Patreon things where they. I mean, I don't know how much they're allowed to do, but I would just love to have like Patreon benefits or something like that, where artists can talk about how they kind of get these effects. I mean, I would love to watch, like, I would love to go to like a seminar. I mean, not even like because I'm an artist and like that. I just want to know, like, how do they get this effect? I mean, it's such an amazing thing. I would go to a seminar of like, here's how we did this. And it's like, yes, do it, please. Put it online so I can actually go to it.
Well, even when Skyber used to do that before he got too busy making videos complaining about The Last Jedi. He's a DC comic book artist.
Okay.
He made his name during the because you know Jeff Johns.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
the guy who saved Aquaman.
So yeah, no, but he like really, he was the artist on the Green Lantern run where he introduced all of the different colored lanterns and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like cemented as the artist for Green Lantern for a while. So, but then he had a beef with The Last Jedi, like a lot of people did, and he noticed that got a lot more views than everything else he's done.
Ugh.
Yeah, so that's pretty much all he's done, though. It's too bad because they were interesting. He showed like how he draws and techniques here and there. I mean, his channel is called Comic Book Pro Secrets.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, awesome. And then there's like, I mean, the stuff's still there if you want to find the old stuff. It's not that. But
yeah, but now it's just him going, The Last Jedi sucks and it needs to be remade.
Oh, yeah. No, it's crazy.
Ugh. Don't even start about this. It's like the worst thing possible.
Yeah, I know. I just brought it up. Because it actually, like, he did used to do the thing you wanted there.
Yeah. I mean, I know I don't expect people to be like, hey, professional artists, put your tools of the trade online so everyone can copy you.
It turns out all I do is use clip art.
Right.
You'd be surprised how much there is out there that fits it.
You just need to search Google the right way.
I searched a turbaned man and I found all these poses.
Right. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, especially a lot of like lesser known artists are doing this like on Patreon. They're doing like, I mean, even my girlfriend is thinking about starting a Patreon with rewards, like, showing workflow and stuff like that, especially now that her newest like alien thing where she puts aliens into pictures, to make it look like, like pictures of aliens, whatever. It's pretty cool. But that they're like getting really popular and people have been asking how she does it and stuff like that. So she's doing like stuff like that. So hopefully that would be something. But yeah, should we move on to the last issue of this volume?
Issue 10. The Sovereign prepares for his demise as he sends Mr. Din off with all of his personal information, ready to delay Gilad so he can escape. Gilad is shocked that his captor is an old white dude, but he proves to be a capable swordsman. He reveals to Gilad that he is the Dying One, that is immortal but not in his own body, that his soul and consciousness travels to a random body on Earth after dying, with all of his previous memories. He is killed by Gilad, with the whole place burning down. At the same time, in Indiana, the Dying One takes over a wife and she quickly kills her husband and contacts Mr. Din, ready to begin anew. 2 weeks later, Gilad asks Eric to kill him. And I realized I missed the important part of him mentioning Caleb.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Dying One mentions that something's going on with Caleb, which then makes Gilad realize he has to go back. Oh, there, I saw one you mentioned with the sound effect.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he also does the sound effect in... what other page is it? Oh, he also does it in page 197 when he's slashing through the metal to get through it. I mean, it also looks just really nice. That's scash, scash, scash. And yeah, the blood, where is it? It's like with him, right? He kills. Yeah, there he goes.
Page.
The cooch, chook, chook.
That's the thing too. Like, I'm not sure about. I mean, some of them has to be drawn by the artist, I feel. Though some of the sound effects and like utterances, could have been done by the letterer. But either way, they really feel like they're hand drawn, which I like. Like all of their roars.
Yeah.
Like, I love the fact that it feels like it's part of it. Because that's kind of how even though I work digitally and such, I still kind of like it when everything kind of feels like it's drawn by the same hand. Like even things like a sound effect, which, doesn't have to be, drawn. It could, you have all these tools these days. But I just like the idea when it feels like it's part of the paper, like it's part of the image. Like I brought it up before with Will Eisner, who would do it all the time.
Mm.
Where like the text would be part of their brain pouring down, and it's just, oh, so beautiful. Must be a pain to translate, though.
Oh yeah.
It's not just a little space, not a little bubble. You just, erase what's there and put in your own text.
Yeah, but then again, nowadays, a lot more effort is being put into translation like this. I mean, if you look at all those, like pretty much every movie, which is a little bit annoying to me because I like to watch my movies in English or like in the original language, and then all the signs and everything is in German because I buy the movies in German. Or in Germany, and it's just it's a little bit annoying because, again, obviously they only switched the language track, not just the video track. So, and now especially with like digital stuff, it's getting much more easier. People are actually, even in like live action stuff, they will actually like mask out like whatever is written, track it, and then put the German or whatever other language in there. That's crazy.
It's pretty cool. Even in the olden days too, though. Well, not like it was too difficult in that sense, but the fact that effort was put in.
Yeah,
I've seen some of my old like Disney movies on video, especially like the old stuff. Like I think both Snow White and Pinocchio on my copies, they were Swedish. Like the book opening, like it didn't say Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The book, it said like Snövit or de 7 dvärgarna.
Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, it's, nice little confrontation.
Okay. Can we talk about The Crow?
Sure. It's a pretty good movie.
Yes, Brandon Lee, may he rest in peace. Did you notice The Crow at all?
I did see it, like flying off at the death, but I didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
But you do see it in that cage.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I saw it in that because when we were looking at the text, I saw the crow or eagle or whatever it is black, but it might be just shadow. It doesn't look like a crow when it's flying. I was thinking that had to do something with his death.
Oh, like is his spirit escaping through it?
Because yeah, something like that. Because I mean, he's caged up. How did he get through there? I mean, Gila didn't hit the cage. And I'm just kind of like wondering, I was like, what is that? I mean, it was never mentioned ever. I mean, maybe in the background you saw it a little bit or something. But then I was thinking like, oh my God, what if the crow or that bird was with the woman when she got the power? And I was looking in those panels and the bird is nowhere to be seen. And I feel like that was such a missed opportunity. You could have totally put that bird somewhere. And you could have given it, I mean, even if it didn't mean anything, it would still be like nice to be like, oh, hey, look, there's the crow, that little bird thing. It's like standing on the house before it happens and stuff like that. I don't know. That would have been fun.
Yeah, no, it's kind of, because I'm just trying to see myself now here.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, the last time we see it before it's, the like when you see it escaping. Is on page 205, like the page before, and it's locked up and it's far away from them. Like there's no impression at all that his swing would, hit the cage or anything.
Right. I mean, you see it before in like when they're in the room.
Exactly.
But I don't think you ever see it. So I'm kind of wondering like what, like, does it mean something, or are we just kind of trying to connect some things that aren't like here?
I don't know. If anything, I'm not gonna like mark it down points or anything.
Yeah.
But it does seem like an odd thing, like maybe some miscommunication between the writer and artist. Like,
yeah, maybe.
Because there is no logic to
it. Or maybe it's like one of those John Woo movies where suddenly there's just doves.
Suddenly doves.
Yeah. Everything goes slow motion and it's suddenly doves.
But yeah, no, I mean, it's... I guess I like the concept of the dying one.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's cool to have this simple sort of, what would we call it? Giveaway with the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So you have something kind of, connecting them. It's just kind of like, okay, how's she gonna manage this now? And also being the dying one, your sense of like gender and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We don't even know, what she started as in that sense. So, and the amount of time, they must spend in these bodies, like you'd have to get used to it eventually, regardless of what you, started off as.
Right.
So now for however many years, he's been this, old white dude with hemorrhoids. So, now he's like, okay, attractive redhead. So who living with Clark Kent, apparently.
Yeah, a weak Clark Kent.
Yeah, more like, it's gotta be a good, he must have been called something in a comic. Come on, where's our inner bully jock? What would we call Clark Kent? Clark Bent?
Clark Dent.
Oh, there we go.
Something like that.
But yeah, a cool concept. And
anyway.
I guess like the sort of contingency plan. Like they obviously have some kind of, I guess, mobile phone number that only, he'd remember.
Right.
And then like, yeah, hey, it's me. Here's my, well, I guess it is your sovereign. Who else would call and say that?
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do. Like, this is a cool enemy. This will be a cool recurring enemy. It'll be that kind of thing where every time they die, and then you won't know the next time they appear.
Yeah, and then you can have like background characters where, like the background character has the green and brown eye.
Exactly.
And you're like, oh my god, there it is.
Or someone revealing themselves at the end as a double crosser, and like they reveal their sunglasses or something, and the eyes.
Right.
And it's just cool. I mean, it will lead to some really contrived coincidences. Oh, you were so lucky that you just happened to get into the body of Exo Manowar.
Shit, yeah, you're right. That could happen. I mean, I was still in this mind of like...
Yeah, like the baby?
That it had to be a baby or something like that. But yeah, you're right. He could be part of... He could like go into... Whoa, what happens to the soul that doesn't... Oh, so many questions. See, this is why you do it with babies, man.
Oh god, yeah, if he got into Gilad. Because then he would get kind of what he wanted.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
This is also the kind of stuff I love with, these kinds of speculative universes. Like, would one overpower the other in terms of the mind,
Right. Yeah.
Like...
And also, I mean, just from like a... like,
or would he go to heaven with him? Like, both Gilad and him are in the house.
Well, no, because, I don't know.
See, again, it's these crazy things, and it's so cool. I love it.
Yeah. There's one thing that I do like to kind of just mention on the side, because I did kind of think about it here with this issue a lot. We talk a lot about, like in fiction, we talk a lot about hell, and we always depict hell. We always show hell very easily and very quickly, but we don't do the same with God or heaven. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just so interesting that no matter what, I mean, like obviously there are some exceptions like South Park and stuff like that, but it seems like so many people do have like some sort of respect for heaven in the sense of like, well, I don't necessarily want to portray God. I don't necessarily want to, show heaven, that kind of stuff. It's more of a concept, like with Gilad, how he dies, we see hell. We basically see hell. It's like, this is demons, red, dark, killing. Fine, it's hell, torture, that stuff, right? But there's no mention of like a heaven, and I mean, there's like a personal thing for Gilad, but is it like that for everyone else? Or we have like godlike entities with unity and stuff like that. No, it's not unity. What am I thinking of?
Like Shadow Man?
The cosmonaut guys. Guys. Divinity, not unity, right? Divinity. We have something like with divinity, which kind of is close to a divinity, like a god, but it's not like spoken of it like that. And I think that's so interesting because, and this comes to my point here, why do you think Gilad wants Eric to kill him instead of him just killing himself?
I get the impression that, again, not that it would be, following like Christian scripture.
Right, obviously not, because he was born before that became a thing.
Yeah, true. Oh God, where's our Gilad and Jesus mystery hour? Oh
my God, I want that. I want him to be one of the disciples.
Oh God, even worse. I mean, this would be sacrilegious. But if Gilad is Jesus,
yes. Oh my God.
I mean, that would fit in terms of him nailed up. He dies, quote unquote.
and then comes back 3 days later. Oh my god.
Oh god. I mean, heck, I mean, Valiant could probably do it in the sense of they're not big enough that people would care.
Yeah, I mean, but also maybe it would
them.
Like get some publicity.
People like,
yeah, if anything,
a small group of Christians are upset about this. What?
A small group of Christians. Oh man, that would be the best. I was kind of like, I really want to start reading that manga where like the Buddha and
Jesus and Buddha.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen all those gifs and
our roommates. I want to.
Are you thinking of the sauna?
But yeah,
one?
so
the one in the sauna with the Yakuza.
No.
Oh, it's great.
Oh yes. No, I saw the gifs. I think of that. Like yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that, and just the whole. I love it when I think it's called one conversation, two stories, or something. Like they're talking, and we realize that each one is thinking different things based on what they're saying. So when he's mentioning about him, like, oh yeah, I got in trouble with my father or something. He means God. He's like, oh God, his Yakuza boss.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking it's something like that, just like the rule, I guess. I guess it's also maybe it's also a good fail safe for the Geomancer and the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because he has that beautiful heaven there, but he should only be able to get there by service.
Right.
Otherwise, he at any point he would have killed himself, and there we go, I'm fine.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, would it have something to do with also the fact that the dying one doesn't kill himself either? Or do you think it's just like a narrative thing where, in the sense of like in the world that we live in, we don't want to glorify suicide, or we don't want to talk about it like that? Do you think it maybe is just purely let's not have our heroes or even the villains kill themselves in a comic?
Well, it could be a bit it could be a bit what's it called? Man, I lost track of it. I had it on my mind. Could you repeat what you said? Yes, to get it running.
I can't remember.
But like, it's not too. No, there we go. It's one of those Persona games. I think it's Persona 3. There was a.
Oh yeah, that you don't want to kill yourself because then maybe people will be like, oh, we'll glorify.
Well, yeah, I mean,
suicide.
because I've seen clips of it like on YouTube, and
this Persona game?
3 at least. I don't think the other ones have the same setup, but basically every time you have to release your whatever they were called, your Persona,
yeah,
you have to kill yourself, and I think they all have like a gun that they shoot to their head.
Oh God.
Yeah, like while they're in the world, like not in the real world, but when they're in like the spirit world thing, TV world.
Inception.
But yeah, it's that kind of thing. It's very, again, I get it within the context of the story.
Yeah.
But, having teenagers just kind of casually shooting themselves in the head.
Yeah.
Like Penny Arcade made a strip about that, where they're like talking to the developers and like, yeah, do you think you maybe could have another way they could get their powers? Like maybe having like unprotected sex with ghosts? He was giving all these weird suggestions of things you don't want teenagers to do, but giving it that supernatural twist to it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they could just change the gun to a squirt gun, and then everything would be fine.
There's so many things,
just like Apple did.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah, but it is these kind of things where the rules aren't quite clear. So it is things like this I was also thinking of, like, yeah, why if that's so important, why does why would he spend 2 weeks to get to Auric?
Right.
If he could just kill himself, which I guess just doesn't work.
Exactly. So that's why I'm thinking, like, I mean, there is no in-story kind of reason, I don't think, except for the fact that they just don't want to show it in this medium. Like, they don't want to talk about it. All right. Anything more to say? Do you want to go straight to our reviews?
No, I mean, again, as you've been saying throughout the whole thing, it's very sort of straightforward. It's not like the previous volume where we could discuss each issue individually.
Yeah.
But yeah, just honestly, 5 out of 5 quality on my end.
Yeah, 6 out of 5 on my end.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, you know, I broke that meter.
No, but and green light in terms of.
Yeah, I mean, get this one obviously, but I mean, you got to say, like, for someone who tortures himself through 4-issue volumes on occasion for this podcast, the fact that I had to read a 6-issue volume the night before because somebody didn't send me the comic early enough, and I still loved it, says something about this comic.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just good stuff. Like we said before, Gilad definitely is the cornerstone of the universe.
Yes, and he is the best. He's the best boy.
Well, he really is sort of. I mean, obviously, Ninjak is the Batman, like, you know, of the Valiant, of course. But in terms of just sort of being the important character, it really is Gilad, just by virtue of, you know, being alive for almost all of the time. You know,
definitely.
It's just so good.
It's so damn good.
So, I don't know. I'm just looking forward to the next volume then, in terms, because I haven't read the next one, so I don't know what happens.
Oh, okay,
I'm looking
cool.
forward to see then if Arik's like quick to do it, or like how much convincing does it take?
It's not even like a question. It's like literally the first panel of the next issue is a splash panel of him just blasting through his face.
Oh,
dude, not the face! Oh my god, that's not how that works.
I always think of the homeless episode of South Park.
Not in the dick.
Yeah, you know, with the scientist guy. Sorry for taking the easy way out. Takes that like down.
Yes.
And it's like a minute of him trying to kill himself.
Of him shooting himself in the head, just constantly screaming.
Shooting through his cheeks.
Yeah,
I just watched it like a few weeks ago, and I didn't even remember the fact that you don't even actually get to see him die. Like, it cuts like away from there with him still kind of like struggling and bleeding and like. So we don't even get to see him die.
Typical. Oh my god.
I think that's Cosmos' line to finish up.
Oh, you can actually hear that? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, I heard a yawn.
Oh, yeah, he's next to me here, but he's sitting down now. Yeah, mommy's gonna be home soon. Yeah.
But yeah. Whew.
Oh man, this is a long episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was 6 issues, but damn, yeah, it
was
1.5
6
hours here according to my footage, or like my line.
Yeah.
Probably will only come down to 136, so it'll come down to 130 or whatever. Well, yeah, let's wrap it up.
All right. Yep, let's wrap it up. You can discuss this episode on Reddit, tweet us, or you can follow us on Facebook. Also, all of our episodes are available on our hosting site, Podbean. Links are in the show notes. Catch us next time for
Exo Manowar, Volume 12.
No subtitle?
I didn't see one when I wrote the name down. I could find it quickly just to make sure.
Long live the king.
Okay, then I'll do it here. Exo Manowar, Volume 12. Long live the king.
Keep all that in there, though.